Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Winner Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Higgs. As always, it's a Tuesday. gamblersWORLD.net to sponsor. We're going to get to some free pick action today in college basketball. Last Tuesday, we went 2-1 with our college hoops, looking to do the same or better. But before I get to that, hit the like button, hit the notification button, subscribe to the YouTube channel here so you know when me, Matt, and Chip come on every Tuesday and give you some free picks, or perhaps another day of the week. We have Doug Upstone, we have Brian Bittler, live show with Mark Lawrence, Victor King, Chip over here, Paul Bovey, Jim Feist, Scott Pritchard, some more free picks for you. We got you covered here on the YouTube channel with free picks. So subscribe, notification bells, and alerts. Do it all. Leave a comment if you want. Thumbs up, thumbs down if you don't like the free pick. Maybe you fade us and you're losing. Sorry. I don't know what to tell you. Now, gamblersWORLD.net is our sponsor. So be sure to go to the webpage and listen. The free picks are great, but the premium stuff's where we're really putting out the more winners. Not more winners, but you get what you pay for, as they say, right, folks? So NFL regular season, end of season pass, I should say, is up right now for just $199. Go get that because the NFL is wrapping up. It is. We're closing down shop here for football. We got bowl games coming up. It's the end, folks. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's going to be a new year shortly, and then where are you going to be at? Then you're going to be complaining there's no football, and then you're upset. Get on board while you can. 3 730 packages, all guaranteed. We show you a profit over that time, or we credit you back. Use the leaderboard. Win or lose, always the truth. We got a leaderboard right there for you. You see each sport broken down. I can't explain it to you. It's right there. I mean, it's pretty simple kind of stuff here. But let's get to the guest here, folks. We have I was with Chip yesterday, so I'm going to start out with Matt Fargo because I haven't seen him in a week. See how his weekend went, what he's got in store for us here at gamblersworld.net when it comes to the premium stuff. There's no real degenerate kind of action until the bowls start up, but who knows? Maybe he's got we have a wacky NBA schedule this week with the in-season championship going, right? So we have 2 games, 3 games. Bunch of nonsense. Limited college hoops. Teams are on. Kids are home. Exam time. So it's a wacky kind of schedule. But what do you have going on? How was your weekend too? Also,
weekend was it was all right. Average. 2-2 in college. My big game, Louisiana, bit the dust. Horrible. It was just a horrible call on my part.
But I'm going to cut you off real fast because Doug had that yesterday. He mentioned it. You lose a backup quarterback and you go on to number 3. I had him. You're in trouble. What are you gonna do? You're a third stringer here. We're out of luck.
Right. You can't handicap that stuff. But yeah, 2-2 in college. NFL going 3-3 for the week. Buoyed by a lucky win last night with Cincinnati. And I'm not going to apologize for it because I was on the wrong end last week with Cleveland getting their bad beat. So that happens in these one-off games. We're just talking about a pre-show. How these one-off games like. The fix is on. No, it's not. It just happens. It just happens, And
bad team.
Yeah.
That's why they have 4 wins, folks.
Right. Exactly. And go back to what you said about this basketball schedule. Man, like last week was loaded with, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday game, like 50, 40, and then 100 on Saturday. And last night there were 3.
Yeah.
And now tonight there's like 20 or so. I have a 3-game package tonight in college hoops, and the NBA I passed last night. I know there's 2 games tonight. I have 1. There's 2 games tomorrow. It's just a wacky time of year with the sports schedule. You get it on this high with just all day, all night, looking at all these games, and all of a sudden you're like, now today's like, but
on the flip side of that though, it's kind of good because we have bowls coming up now.
Yeah.
I know some people don't like to bet early on bowls. Others do. I used to be an early bowl better. Now it's a little kind of tougher with transfer and portals. But it's at least you can kind of start looking because I'm looking at stuff now. And I'm going to get to Chip in a second. Maybe, and Chip see how he looks at his bowl. But now it's kind of like who doesn't have coaches? I got quarterbacks leaving. I've moved on a couple games. Like I mentioned yesterday, Lake Florida. And I didn't take him yesterday at like 10.5. It's 12.5 now. So I'm like, you know what? I got to get now. I think it's going to go up. That's a team I want to play on. And I missed the starting number. I don't want to keep missing it. But Chipper.
Yes, sir.
How are you, my friend? We're talking about the wacky beats there. Browns last week, you're like, what the heck happened? I got Cincy and I'll take a gift. That's sports betting. They kind of weigh themselves out. It's kind of like the old free throw missing at the end of the game. You lose by a half, win by a half. Welcome to the world of sports betting, rookies.
Yeah.
Here's a veteran here. This guy. I'm surprised Chip still even has hair.
Well,
the gamblers go long.
It's certainly thinning, that's for sure. It's thinning, that's for sure. And how about them Cowboys? I mean, they did it to us once again. I mean, we discussed before we came on that this isn't that coaching. Isn't that about coaching, about making an error like that a crucial area, not type of game? Maybe these guys aren't the brightest people in the world. They're football players. But and as far as the weekend goes, I won my megabuck plays. I had a megabuck play on Clemson, which won. Got beat with Penn State as a big play Saturday. Sunday came back strong with a big winner with what was that? The Rams over the Buffalo Bills. And then last night, of course, catastrophe at the end of the game. So, but basketball, 18 of the last 21 college games have been winners, and 28 and 10 of the last 38 in the NBA. So the beat goes on with basketball. We just keep dribbling and shooting.
So Chip had mentioned his NBA. He is number one in the NBA at gamblersworld.net, 48 and 32. Utterly ridiculous. NBA, a sport where you don't even know who's playing until 10 minutes before. Chipper is absolutely destroying it. Chip Chirimbes, number one in the NBA. Matt Fargo's not too bad. Number 2 NFL on the site. There you go for that. So you know who to go to for your NBA and NFL action. Me, I'm just more of a middle of the road kind of guy. You know, I think I'm number 3 in college hoop. You know, it is what it is. I'm not the top cat. I'm number 3 in college basketball. I'm not even ranked in college football, and I have the most wins on the site. I have 91 wins, and I'm not even in top 3. But hey, it is what it is, folks. Use the leaderboard, gamblersworld.net for all of our premium content. That's where we do most of our winning, or we try to do all of our winning, I should say, not most. Obviously, we want to win every single game, free pick or not. Last week, we went 2-1 in these free picks. We got a couple of similar teams going, just different matchups. We're going to try to dole out a couple goodies again here today. Chip Chirimbes, Mr.
Yes,
NBA. We're going to move him to the college level here. Arkansas versus Michigan. They don't like Arkansas, but that's what I'm going to say to stir up the comments section. Jimmy V Classic. It is the late game, 9 o'clock here at MSG. Arkansas 7-2. Calipari's taking over. Haven't really been covering games, but they're getting 4.5 even in the, shop around. I think we got a straight 4 right now, 146.5 against Michigan. Another new coach for Michigan in May was at Florida Atlantic. Nice small school, great turnaround. Takes over Juwan Howard. Hello, into the top 25 a month into the season. Good job by him. Are they a 4-point fave here? They're 8-1, 6-3. They're getting done ATS as Calipari's guys have not covered, but I don't know. 4? Chip, you like the points? What is this one? 4, 146? What do you think?
Right. I certainly have a comment on this game, but before I make it, I want to make one question I have about the bowl games, because you said about betting them early, and I'll get this out of the way. Is the NIL going to force these players to play? All these guys that have been walking out in previous bowl games, now that they had the NIL, are they committed to playing in that bowl game?
You think they'd probably should add something like that in.
I would imagine if I'm going to be paying you, I want you in the biggest game of the year. I mean, that's but
I was looking to fade a team like Miami going to like the Pop-Tarts Bowl, right? They lose the last game, and hi, we're in the Pop-Tarts Bowl, and I love the dancing Pop-Tart. I'm like, I don't want to bet on them. It's like a pick 'em. But then I see Cam Ward's like, oh, I'm playing. He comes out and flat out says he's playing.
Yeah.
If he doesn't play, I mean, I think that kind of, if I'm a coach in the NFL, I'm like, whoa, I can't take this guy at his word.
Well, I think they're going to be forced to play because of the NIL. And I think all those defections that we've seen in the past, well, we'll have to wait and see because the bowl game's just starting right now. But I'll get to the basketball game at Madison Square Garden, which you mentioned Michigan, new coaching, coming off one of their worst basketball seasons ever. For years, Michigan's always been a threat. They've always played great, great team ball, defense. And this last year was just atrocious. This year, they're really back in sync. And they're up against Arkansas. And I really love this because John Calipari returns to Madison Square Garden. And, of course, he's pretty infamous having spent 15 years at Kentucky and having gotten strangled by Latrine Sprewell when he was coaching in the NBA. But Arkansas, 7-2, has only covered 2 games this year. And the two games that they lost were to Illinois and Alabama. The other side, of course, we have Michigan, who lost their opening game by 2 points to Wake Forest, have reeled off 8 straight wins, 6-3 against the number. I just think that this is a homecoming for Calipari and of sorts coming back to Madison Square Garden. I think that he's going to have the Razorbacks ready. I would take the points against Michigan here. I've had Michigan a number of times already this season, and I really like their club and I really like their attitude. Both teams are 3-6 to the over. If you want to play under, that looks like it might be the way to go because they probably both are going to be playing some great defense. But I'm going to take the points with the Razorbacks. I like Arkansas.
Chip Chirimbes, Arkansas Razorbacks plus the 4 at MSG tonight. I tend to agree with the Razorback play there. It's a Michigan's nice little start to the season. I'm not a big Calipari coach kind of guy. He gets the recruits. I don't know if he could win coaching wise, and May coming out of a smaller school where he's got guys. One of his guys is actually playing for Calipari. I don't know. I'm going to take the points with you, though. I agree. Matt, what do you think about this one? You like the points, or are you going to go with the?
No, I do agree with that. Michigan's won 8 straight right now or 7 straight after their one loss against Wake Forest. I played against Michigan on our free play last week, and going into Wisconsin, that was a big win for them. The Dusty May dude, he's a good coach, and I totally respect that. I don't like the spot here. Coming off 2 straight Big Ten wins, I don't know if it's a letdown really, but I like Arkansas just because of their one strength is the strength that Michigan has in its defense. Arkansas is number 19 in the Ken Palm defensive efficiency ratings. And I think they can hold this team down. And getting 4.5, I think it's way too many points. I think this should be more, maybe a bucket, maybe close to a pick 'em. Yeah. But I think 4.5 too many points in this spot.
I'm with you with that. I saw 4.5. I'm like, they're part of my 3-pack tonight, and my college basketball 3-pack. There you go. So you get one for free here. Really, why isn't this like a 2-pointer? It's a neutral. Yeah. You mentioned again, people are like, you play your conference. Those are big games, even though we're playing them in December, not January and February. And now it's an out-of-conference. It's a little kind of standalone tournament. It's not an easy spot. And Arkansas is a team looking to build here. They bring in a new coach. They didn't like the way things were going, and he's a winning coach too. So let's go a triple threat here on Arkansas to get it done here, plus the 4 points. Again, this is Chip Chirimbes' free play. Arkansas plus the 4. Get his premium picks at gamblersworld.net. Mr. NBA #1 in the money and the mega play. We'll come back to Chip in a little bit with his today in sports history. I missed it yesterday, but we're not gonna forget it today because much like yesterday where he had a huge baseball signing, there'll probably be some fun stuff in the today in history going on with award stuff, hopefully. Matt, you mentioned you did Michigan, Wisconsin. Here's the other half of that team, Wisconsin and Illinois, a Big Ten battle here. Wisconsin, a 6.5-point dog now in this spot here against the Illini. Total 154. Overall records are pretty good. ATS records are just so-so, but the two teams. But as we mentioned, you come into conference play, kind of changes the whole aspect of things. You kind of throw out the beginning of their cupcake kind of schedules that these teams have. Look at some of the, matchups. You're like, okay, Eastern Illinois, SIU, it's Southern Illinois, Edwardsville. Now you start stepping up competition. Illinois, I think, is a top 20 team. They might not be in the rankings, the polls right now, but let's be honest. We don't look at the polls. We kind of look into more interior kind of numbers on teams, defense, scoring, pace, that kind of nonsense. 6.5. Is it too many on the road, or is this just about right when you see a ranked team catching nearly a touchdown in basketball here on the road from Illinois? Both teams in off a loss too, also, I believe.
Yeah. Illinois lost to Northwestern. Pretty big upset. I think it's so many points. I'm looking at my Ken Palm right now.
Increase.
Wisconsin was basically getting the same number they're getting tonight, and Marquette, was ranked 3 points better than Illinois and Ken Palm. So I think it's way too many points for that. They're coming up 2 straight losses. I had them last week. Michigan shut this offense down, like one of the highest scoring offenses in the country. Michigan shut them down. I don't think Illinois has nearly the same amount of defense that the Wolverines have. So I like the spot. I like the spot here coming off 2 straight losses. Typically, I don't like going against a team that is coming off, their first conference loss of the season, but it kind of goes both ways in this aspect. So I think it's too many points. Wisconsin still has the offense, one of the best free throwing teams in the country. Getting this amount of points, they've lost 3 straight against the number. I think it's inflated. Yeah, I like the Badgers to keep this one close, if not win it outright.
Whiskey and the points from Matt Fargo. And, it's weird because we have Wisconsin, we got Michigan, we got Arkansas, all kind of playing each other here. Michigan beat Wisconsin 67-64. Illinois beat Arkansas 90-77. So you kind of like wheel those kind of numbers together and you could come up with your own little angles on teams. It's not the same, right? It's A plus B plus C, but you see how they go against each other. And is it, again, we talk about conference kind of play. You see it's a closer kind of game. Illinois gets out of conference, they're dropping a 90 spot, and then they come in and play Northwestern, not a basketball juggernaut, and score 66 points. But for the show, Wisconsin, free pick, Matt Fargo. Chip Chirimbes, what do you think about Wisconsin Badgers and the Fighting Illini of Illinois?
Well, this Wisconsin team has gone through a major change. They've been known for decades, for eons, as being a great defensive team, slowing the pace down. All of a sudden, this year, they're one of the highest scoring teams in the country. They've changed their philosophy. And I think maybe that's one of the reasons they're struggling so early in the season. But it's a large number of points. I think I'm going to have to take it here. I'm not so impressed with Illinois that I would lay this, but I would take the underdog here with the points, even though it's a different type of team than we're used to seeing with this Wisconsin team. They are totally different. It used to be before they would just hold the ball and play defense and force you into errors. Now they're just running and looking to put points on the board. So hopefully they've adjusted properly, and I'll take Wisconsin.
Chip Trim is agreeing with Matt Fargo in the 6.5. I'm gonna go against you guys both. I'm gonna be like 6.5. Oh, they're begging me to take whiskey. I got to look at that. Listen, 4. All right, I'm going to take the dog in close kind of game. 6.5. Listen, that 6 might as well be 10, right? I mean, you got to get up a little bit. There's going to be some wild 3-pointers at the end. Or if you're getting down a bit, you're telling me Illinois by 10 in this game? That's what I look at that when I see 6.5. Again, I have my wacky way of looking at games. And I look at the same way for a college football or NFL when I see lines that I think are a little out of whack. This one looks like an out of whack one to me. So I kind of like Illinois. It's not on my card. I see that line. I like to go opposite. I told you, folks, I like to double down on hard 12s. I double down on hard 12s at the table. They got to bring over the ball. They look at them like double down on hard 12. The guy looks. Yeah, that's me. I'm that guy.
We've talked about this before. When it comes to like football lines. You see a 3.5, you see a 7.5, like, oh my God, we're going to get the hook. No, we take the favorites in those spots.
I'm taking the favorites
because you're right. This line is high, and I'm taking the points because I think it's too high in a Big Ten matchup, whatever. But I see your rationale behind it. Like it's way too high. I'm going to take the favorite. Yeah. I can't fault you for that. I can't not fault you.
And I'm going to give away a little trade secret for people watching on free pick videos. You watch guys do free pick videos. Again, this is a free pick video. Matt likes Wisconsin plus 6.5. Arkansas, we all agree on as an underdog, plus 4.5 against Michigan here. But a lot of times you take a dog, right? There's 3 outcomes in a game. 2 out of 3 are going to benefit the dog. A cover, an outright win, or they're going to lose. That's it. 2 out of 3 is in your favor if we roll with a dog on a free pick video. That's just so you know. A lot of times you're going to see a lot of dogs in free pick videos. And is it a contrarian look a lot with dogs? It really isn't. But I think the human mind is what? Let's bet favorites. You see what these FanDuel's, DraftKings, everything they put out, it's favorites. Everybody puts out their money line favorite, parlays, 7-leggers. We're doing faves and overs. That is the mindset of the not average, of everyone. Chip's been betting games since the 60s, probably. I mean, not to throw out your age, right, Chip? I mean, forget you've been doing this. I'm just saying he's been a pro since the 70s. I mean, he's been betting probably since he's 12. I mean, let's be honest.
He's a legend. He's a legend. He's a legend
right?
across the. He's a legend.
You can't just change your brain wiring in 3 weeks. This is years and years. You just have to do and be like, you wonder why people say I don't watch a game, because you can't, because you're going against everything that your mind tells you when you're taking an underdog, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest.
Everyone likes the favorite because they're a better team for the most part. And by the way, Sean, you don't have to apologize for having a dissenting opinion. I mean, that's why we're here. They're here to give them different opinions on the games. I mean, we're all come to these games from different angles. So, and no one's 100%. Almost, but not quite. But I was just saying,
just you on your megabucks runs. That's about it. 90%.
Well, I'm very fortunate that that's happening, and I'm seeing them on a daily basis. So, but what I'm saying is we can disagree, and I don't think there's a problem with that at all, because I want to hear what your opinion, your reasoning, and your rationale is as well, even if it's on the opposite side.
People have their databases, and we're going to go to my system. And sometimes, again, I've been since the 90s, right? 1990, I made my first bets like sophomore in high school. And from then, you just kind of grow in the way you do it. And it's just sometimes I see a line, I'm like, whatever. Oh, Duke's laying 34 tonight. I'm just crossing that off. I'm not going to take Duke minus 34. In 1995, oh, yeah, I'm going to take a huge fave. I'm not laying a 35. I'm not going to do it. Those games are crossed off the board. One, there's way too much to go on to dissect every single game, right? We can go into every game and come up with a side or total or some kind of angle for any single game and probably change our styles to even bet on every single game on a part of it if we wanted to. You can't do that. You can't. You don't have to bankroll for that.
So what you're saying is that 12 is when you actually realize you were a degenerate. Is that it? I mean, is that 12? You 15, made your first 16. Bet at 12.
16. Probably before that, but I meant like seriously kind of betting. I mean, I was
who's going to
working at restaurants. I was making a couple hundred a week. I was making a couple hundred a week, and I'm having betting 20 timers. Yeah, I was pretty good at 20 timers. That was 110 or 100 back in the day, folks. People don't know what 20 timers are.
I was going to say 20 timers are $100 for those out there.
That was big when you're 15, putting a 20 timer in. But I worked at a restaurant. I did busboy double shifts on a weekend. Just my flat pay was 15 a shift, so that was $60 for a double Saturday and Sunday. And then I got tips. And that was usually about a weekend at the Italian joint. I was good for probably about 180 in cash plus my pay. So I was making like two and a quarter, 240 a week. Not bad for 15, bro. Come on.
Pretty good.
Well, at least you had that work ethic.
Yeah, now I don't know if I have worth ethic now because I just sit on my butt and just stare at numbers and print out paperwork. But well, let's get to game number 3, and enough about my reckless youth of listening to great 90s rap music and cheesy 80s one-hit wonders. One-hit wonder, Volunteers, they're the number 1 ranked team in the country. Tennessee is for me. Matt had Wisconsin, Michigan last week. I had a Tennessee-Syracuse game. Very similar here. I got a 15 and a 145. Last week it was like a 17 and a 146. I think this is going to play out the same exact way. I'm not going to overthink things here with Tennessee. And Chip, right? Last week's the total was 146.5. This one is 145.5. I like the over. Nothing has changed. We can be simple and add the scores together, and it's around a 160-ish kind of team total for both. What is the difference between Miami and Syracuse? I don't think there's much difference at all. They're both top kind of 100 teams. They have the same kind of who they beat. VCU, believe it or not, is not a bad team. They allowed 77 of them, 83 to Charleston Southern, 80 to Oklahoma State, 80 to Drake, much like Syracuse giving up their 70 spots to their Texas squads they played. Tennessee's going to get into the 80s or 90s. Neutral court or not, again, this is the early game at the Jimmy G.B. Classic at MSG. These aren't teams that are unfamiliar with neutral courts. I mean, Miami, are they down a little bit? Yes. They got a great coach. He's not going to come in here and get embarrassed. Do I want to lay 15? I said this last week. I really don't want to lay that because maybe it's a 86-75 sort of a close game. But they're not going to lay down. They're going to put up their 70 plus. And until I see otherwise with Tennessee the way they play, do I really want to get in front of that train right now? Absolutely not. I'm going to go again over the total here, 145.5. If you want to do a team, I said this last week, go back to the video. You want to do a Tennessee team total? They've been hitting the money there. You want to talk about laying a number? They're 7-1 laying big numbers. Do as you will. Tennessee, though, over 145.5 is my official play here for the video. Matt Fargo, what do you say?
I like it. I had a feeling this is where you're going to go with this after that great call last week. So Tennessee put up 96 on Q's last week, which against a number 143 ranked defensive efficiency team. So, and Miami is way worse, 262 in the country. And the thing about Miami is that they're surprisingly good on offense. They're number 27 in offensive efficiency this year. So even though they're facing the best defense in the country, in my opinion, I think they can get enough points to get the over again. And I love that call. I have a side on this game in my premium package, but I like your angle here for the over once again with Tennessee, which you don't want to step in front of this offense right now. Just the way they're rolling, they're number 9, and yeah, I like it.
Matt agrees with the total, and he has a top premium play at gamblersworld.net. Go get his college basketball, and then he could roll into maybe a Thursday night NFL since he's number 2 in the NFL Monday if he's got something going in NFL this week. Chip Chirimbes, what do you say here on December the 12th? Anything happen good on December 12th besides me going to be cashing another free pick winner?
Before that, I'd like to mention that Larinaga is really got to be going crazy because he's been a great coach. Miami last year was decimated with injuries. Their top player this year is out. 2-7 against the number. They've lost the College of Charleston and to Drake. I just think this is a way different Miami team. And like Matt said, their defense is atrocious. He said they were 260 something or somewhere along that, but they're 307 and field goal percentage allowed, while Tennessee is number 3 in the country, allowing only 56.5 points a game, and number 2 offensively, shooting at 52.5%. These numbers are overwhelming, and like you, Sean, I'm a Canes guy. I'm a Miami fan. They're only shooting 41% on the year, which is really horrible. I just think that if Tennessee comes to play, even at a neutral site at Madison Square Garden, that they're going to get the best of this Miami team. I wouldn't play this game. I wouldn't lay the points. But if you're asking me for opinion off the top of my head, when I look at these numbers and I see the defense that Tennessee plays, the lack of defense that Miami plays. Now, maybe I'm being suckered in here if I was to play it. Miami's lost 6 in a row. I don't see them coming up big here. I like Tennessee. I would play Tennessee if I was forced to, which I am to right now.
Yeah, don't have to, it's a big number and we really don't like laying kind of crazy numbers like that. I'm going to be honest. You're not going to find a lot of Capper saying, hey, let's lay 26 here, or in this case, 16.5 on a neutral, no less.
Right.
Official play, over 145.5, Tennessee. Arkansas, +4 for Chip Chirimbes, who's on the 18-2 college hoop runs, by the way, at gamblersworld.net. And Matt Fargo likes Wisconsin +6.5, and he has a top premium play up for tonight's basketball game, also at gamblersworld.net. But Chip,
yes,
what happened today? We need a sports facts of the day. Let's go.
I got some good things. On December 10th in 1990, after the Black Sox scandal, if you may remember that, the World Series was fixed. The National League banned throwing spitballs for new coming pitchers. In other words, if you were already a veteran or had played previously, you were still allowed to throw a spitball. But if you were a rookie, you were banned. You couldn't throw the spitball. In 1922, the first NFL championship was declared. The Canton Bulldogs went 10-0-2. 1961, a very famous guy who went to jail for counterfeiting named Billy Cannon, for LSU, put on one of the great displays on a nationally televised game, but he went to the Houston Oilers, and in 1961, he had a single game at the Polo Grounds against the New York Titans. That's it for you, Sean. 373 total yards in this game as Cannon ran wild. And on a more local note, because I was there at the time, in 1991, Howard Spira was sentenced to 2.5 years for trying to extort George Steinbrenner, not to be confused with the extortion that Soto tried to pull on House Steinbrenner. And in 2016, Lamar Jackson was the youngest Heisman Trophy winner ever from Louisville. He was 19. And that's about it for December 10th. And here we are in, 2000 what? I can't remember. It's been so many years.
It's almost 25, 24.
Right?
Yeah.
Very soon.
That's a fun fact about Lamar Jackson. I did not know that he was the youngest Heisman winner ever.
Wow! And I was just gonna say, Lamar gets so much hate, youngest Heisman ever, and the guy's an MVP winner in the NFL. And still, people are like, oh, he's not that good.
Right.
Well, he's got to function better in the fourth quarter of these big games. There's been too many sample size of him. You're just failing, fumble the ball, interceptions, and they've had leads in so many of these games coming down the stretch. I mean, the playoff games.
Yes. They have leads. Can the defense get some? Why does the quarterback always? It's always the quarterback's fault. And not that he's like Tom Brady, but what offensive guys has he had on his team?
But I'm talking about fumbles on sacks and interceptions, things along those lines.
If you got to force things because you're down, I'm not mad. You're only going to get maybe half of those wins, right? I mean, people probably don't talk about the games he's won. Pulling rabbits out of the hat. They only talk about
his stats are unbelievable. I mean, he has like 30 touchdowns.
Only the losses.
And you talk, Sean, what you just said about the quarterback always just gets the blame. Like there was some podcast yesterday was talking about, oh, Josh Allen can't win, when it matters. He had one of the best games ever for a quarterback. His defense gave up 44 points.
Yeah,
it's not his fault. It's not Lamar Jackson's fault. This Baltimore defense is not the defense from a decade ago. It's not good, and that's going to be their downfall.
Yeah, Josh Allen. Oh, why did he do that? Why? I don't know. I gotta stay on the field as long as I can. My defense can't stop a cold. They're terrible. Yeah. You've heard me say this. I'm always going to side with the dogs, right? I'm always going to go with the quarterback getting the bad breaks on stuff like it's his fault. Make a stop on the defense, please. Make a stop. The best player or the quarterback, you're going to lose probably half the time. I mean, I'm sure Brady has a couple losses under his belt. Nobody talks about because he's got some Super Bowls. Everybody can't be a Super Bowl winner. He's probably lost some games and nobody talks about him. Whereas if you don't have a bunch of ring around your neck hanging on chains, like look at all my championships, you're the pariah. Like I think Tony Romo has the most fourth quarter comebacks, but he's thought about as a failure.
Yeah.
Where's the defense? Lamar, where's the defense? Well, I got to come out here with 1 minute and 40 seconds left because the defense just gave up a late score.
Well, they gave up a score because he fumbled the ball or he was intercepted. That's happened way too many times in the fourth quarter.
I don't know.
That's the wrap. That's the wrap. I'm not saying he's not great and his statistics aren't great, but so far that has happened way too many times in his career. And that's why he's got this rap on him.
I also have to think that when you have no star guys around you, I mean, who's his best guy? The best offensive player on a team next to him was the kicker at one point.
His stats are great, no question about it, but they can be
misleading. Imagine we saw when Brady had a real wide receiver. They went undefeated. When he had a real wide receiver, not a bunch of 5'6" white guys, not Wes Welker. He had a real receiver. They went undefeated, and he put up 50 touchdowns. Mm-hmm. Imagine if Lamar had a real receiver.
And he's got good receivers. He has Bateman. He has Zay Flowers.
Flowers.
They traded. No, they're not great. They're good. They traded for Johnson, who got suspended last week because he wanted to go in the last game, whatever. But I think they're above average. They don't have that superstar. You're right about that, though.
It's listen. We can go on crazy rants. We did this yesterday for about 20 minutes, and we start the show. We're going all off and stuff. I got to reel it back to the show here. Listen, folks, head to gamblersworld.net for our premium stuff. Matt Fargo's got you covered in college football, college basketball tonight. Chip has you covered. NBA, Mr. NBA #1 there. He's on the 18-2 college hoops run. College football and NFL having nice little seasons, or college football and college basketball. I have a 3-pack up college hoops tonight, #3 in the money there. That's where you find our premiums, gamblersworld.net. We have the $99 college basketball special I saw creep across the floor, $69.99. Daily pass available for you, 3 738 packages also available where we don't show you a profit we credit you back and you do it all over again. Why wouldn't you? You can see the leaderboard, how guys are doing for 3, 7, 30 days. Why wouldn't you get on board? There it is, creeping across the floor there, $69.99. Go get it. Recapping today's free picks. Chip Chirimbes, Arkansas Razorbacks plus the 4. I'm going to say Arkansas, but they'll be in the comment section. Matt Fargo likes Wisconsin plus 6.5. I'm going Tennessee over 145.5. 2-1 last week. We're looking to sweep the board here on Tuesday with our college basketball. We'll be back tomorrow with Brian Biller and who's with me tomorrow? Chip. I'm so confused. I'm like, does it Doug out? I don't even know what day it is. The videos run concurrent sometimes. We'll be back tomorrow. Matt, Chip, thanks for joining me. Good luck, fellas. And to you for watching, thank you. Good luck. Bye-bye.